Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real Growth, Real Stories podcast. Hey, you're jumping into part 2 of this series. If you haven't watched part 1, make sure you go back and start there first. It'll give you the full context and make everything in this episode land even better. Again, we drop new episodes bi-weekly on Mondays, so you've got a consistent schedule to look forward to. All right, let's pick up right where we left off. Well, hey, welcome to the Real Growth, Real Stories podcast. My name is Ryan Jones. I'm your host, where we have real, honest conversations about real growth, highs, lows, and faith. If you're familiar with his bands, he is the front man for a band called Alexandria. I want to introduce my new friend, Danny Worsnop. How has your faith changed how you handle like relationships, daily life, even, your career?
I just have a different barometer with which to read every single encounter or situation. Like I'm looking at it on a different scale of importance, consequence, and just priority, I guess.
I think when you encounter God's grace and his mercy, we're not good people.
No.
I had a conversation with someone. I said, I'm not a good person. And he said, well, yeah, you're a good person. I was like, dude,
by our standards, sure.
Yeah, exactly. By whose standards am I good? Really, I'm a person that's been saved by grace. I never murdered someone physically, but if I've had hate in my heart towards someone or had a hatred type thought, I've committed the spiritual act of murder. Holy crap. Let that just sit in for a second. Like,
dude, even, I mean, it's the more of a real one that we've all done, and we're all guilty of it, of murdering someone's character to another person. We've all gossiped, and I think about that a lot now when I'm talking like about people, and some people need to be criticized for things. That's okay. I'm very conscious of if the person I'm talking to meets the person I'm talking about for the first time.
Yeah.
What I say right now is going to dictate that entire interaction.
Absolutely.
To where I could, like, whatever that person's done to me, I might never do to this person. I could have been a one-off scenario that they feel horrible about, and they don't even know why they did it. It's sort of character. Yeah. That was just my experience with them under whatever they were going through, whatever's happened. It also could be they've completely turned their life around. And this person, that's all they know about them, and that's who and what they are to them now. And we've all done that. That's killing someone's character. And it's completely transformed that person in another person's heart now.
Well, we see it all over the internet. My son's 13. He doesn't have any social media. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to open that can of worms yet.
No, it'll destroy them.
And in fact, I don't know that I was ready when I experienced social media for the first time. I think we were all kind of probably caught off guard. There's moments where people say the most heinous things about people.
Horrible.
Or perception of something that perception is not always truth, right?
No, rarely is.
And most of the time it really boils down to misunderstanding, not conversation, not real conversation. In this day and world, like people they'll cut you. And cancel culture, I hate that phrase so much. Just so you know, I think it's the dumbest phrase ever, but it's true. And they'll blast you all over the internet. And I'm a firm believer that my past is my past. And because my father is so perfect and so graceful, my future is so much better than my past. And yeah, I did some stupid stuff, or I said things and it came out so wrong. And it's like, well, that's not what I meant, or it was perceived a certain way.
That's where the internet messes stuff up as well, because you can't read tone.
Right.
The amount of times I've made, like, I am a silly person. I make jokes about literally everything all the time. Nothing's off limits. I'm a firm believer in you can laugh about it or cry about it. Like, I am going to make fun of it, because why are we taking it so seriously?
Yeah.
And as soon as you type something, someone is going to read that in whatever tone they want to read it in. You can't make an edgy joke in text to a stranger.
No. for the same reason why they can't even put out The Office anymore. People just get offended over the craziest things. I remember before there was Facebook and MySpace. I remember all that stuff before that because I'm old. Don't do the math. I was born in 82. But I remember like, man, like, what did we do before like social media? What did we do before all this stuff? And yes, there's some beautiful things that happen and social media can be used for the right things. But I remember being so much more free. Dude, I'm so glad not everybody had camera phones back then. Cause like I'd be in trouble with some of the stupid stuff that I did or said because, you're ignorant, right? You don't understand certain things.
There's also where you're saying things to exclusively a group of people who are in front of you, know you, and understand you and your heart and your mind versus saying stuff now where someone could video it. And if those same people saw the video, they'd go, yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Whereas it's now complete strangers with no context at all. And now you're evil. It's like, oh, no.
I experienced that personally a few years ago where I had an interaction and like people thought I was evil. And I'm like, dude, I wish you really knew who I was. Like, and the people who knew what was going on, they were like, yeah, well, they don't know who you are. That's their perception of you. It messed me up for a little while because I'm thinking to myself, like, here I am. I'm a pastor. I'm supposed to love people. When they look at me, I'm hoping they see Jesus, right? And it was a misunderstanding type situation. And next thing you know it, I'm painted as the villain. I'm like, what the heck? Like, all I did was ask a question and I was the worst person in the whole entire world. It was a perception and it was their perception, the other person's perception and how they twisted it and then threw it out there. I think what it taught me is perception isn't always truth in life. And so the things that sometimes are said or maybe misconstrued, I think those were the things that like I learned, like maybe I could be a little bit more wise next time I communicate in a situation that could be potentially messy.
Yeah, I'd had it a couple years ago. I felt very strongly about something that I still feel strongly about, but I'd gone on a tirade on Twitter and one sentence of it was taken out and it's become something that is probably still discussed online, where one line of it was, like, it was talking about men and women, and one line of it was like, I don't believe in equality. Now, that's the only bit that people then were like, he doesn't believe in equality. He's a misogynist, hates women. I was like, literally the next line was something to the effect of like, we have inherent differences. And part of our role as men within this is to protect women from getting hurt, from bad things. And right. I also see where they take that. And in their heads, there's kind of the very negative view of well, women can do it themselves. It's like, yes, to a degree. We can all come up with situations just within the general everyday life. Of course, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
We're talking about extremes here. And the second there's a war to be fought, people are going to flip on that opinion real fast. When they start drafting people, the second someone's getting attacked, all of a sudden that ideology goes out of the window temporarily. So it's like, I think we all end up on the receiving end of that on the internet, where it's the perception versus truth part of it is we all get to make our opinions about complete strangers with no context of situation, past, or personality, or who the people are in it. And we don't have to say it to anyone's face when we then voice those opinions as facts and tear them down for something that we don't understand, have no context of, and just jump to a conclusion about that we determine to be true.
Yeah. Some people are unafraid of just speaking truth. And then if you speak truth, you hate me. I'm like, that sounds crazy. I'm an Eagles fan, so I dislike the Cowboys, but I have friends who are Cowboys fans. Now, this might sound crazy, that same context. They're cheering for a different team than me, right? They may love the Cowboys, and I tell them the Cowboys are terrible. All right. And if you're a Cowboys fan, you can cancel me. I don't care. I'm a diehard Eagles fan. Just because you're cheering for that team doesn't mean I hate you. Like
the relatable one would be, and it's something that unfortunately a lot of people and most people, even more unfortunately, can relate to, which is someone struggling with addiction.
Right.
Is a big one. You can love that person and want better for them and want them to be fixed, but whatever the situation is, like you still love that person, So regardless of the application of, well, if you don't agree with what I'm doing, you must hate me. You can't love me and think what I'm doing is wrong. It's like, it doesn't. They actually fall right in line with each other, to where to disapprove of what someone's doing to any kind of degree other than being like, I'm not engaging with this. That's not loving someone and disagree with it. It's to just be like, yeah, I'm out. I'm not going there.
Yeah.
Or being around you, or I don't want you in my life. That's not loving someone.
No.
To disagree with or disapprove of someone's beliefs or actions or lifestyle or whatever it is, to disagree with them and still be there demonstrates the love.
Yeah.
You can disapprove of it, and being there is the love.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. Like, perception is not always truth, right? So they perceive that I'm anti them, which I'm not anti people. I still love you and I still care about you. And at one point I was on that side, right? Where I wasn't walking with God, and I had people love me despite how messed up I was. And they still love me because I still am messed up and I still have things that I'm working on. Just because you become a pastor, because you become a Christian, does not mean that you've arrived. You've, like, in fact, you just agree that, hey, I still got lots of things to work on.
If anything, I imagine it's a lot harder because you're in some measure closer to it, and like you get a deeper and deeper understanding of it. Like you get to see how messed up you are under a magnifying glass a little bit more than the average person. You're more acutely aware of how messed up you are than the rest of us.
And what I've learned over the years is that, I said this in a sermon one time, I said, hey, just so you know, it's okay to come to our church if you're jacked up, because I'm jacked up too. So you're jacked up, I'm jacked up. Hey, we're going to be jacked up and we're going to move closer to God, and we'll become a little less jacked up in certain areas and probably still work in little areas. We'll still be jacked up in those areas, and God will probably still have to teach us lots of lessons. And, I used to pray for patience, and then, God would throw I'd be like, God, I pray for patience. And I was like, why did I pray for that? Because I experienced the craziest things.
It's don't pray for patience, for bravery.
My goal as I grow through life is, how can I be more like Jesus and less like the person that I am, my fleshly desires, my ideas of wanting to be like, I think I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't really care about being quote unquote worldly successful. I care more about, when I leave this earth, did I make an impact? I'm thinking about my legacy. It's weirdest thing. I'd never thought about it until I turned 40, because I'm thinking hey, if I live to 80, I'm at midlife already, And I'm thinking, how can I, in the next 40 years, do the most I possibly can and point the most people to Jesus? How can I do it in a way that just honors God? And it's not about my success. Like, Danny, I don't care if I ever have a monster huge church. I could care less if I made an impact in one person's life. And to me, that was enough, right? Maybe that's the one connection that I've had with one person, and their life is dramatically changed because I was obedient to God. Then, hey, I feel like, man, that was worth it. It was worth all the pain, worth all the suffering, the things that we think are so hard and so bad. And in those moments, I'm not minimizing those moments when you go through pain and whatnot for people, but
because that's all we know here.
Right.
We can only measure it on the scale we have.
Right. And I think as I got older, I just realized hey, how can I be more like Jesus in a way that just loves people? And like you, I grew up, I was nerdy, dude. I was so nerdy. I had the geeky glasses, dude. I had the bowl cut. I was the geekiest kid ever. And I'm still geeky, and I don't really care. I just dress slightly better than I used to because I could pay for my own clothes. That's why. But at the end of the day, I am who I am, and I want to be more like Christ every single day. I'm not perfect. There's times where I've really, really fallen short. I preached a sermon. This will crack you up. I preached a sermon. I was preaching. We just moved and we were new in town, and I'm driving home. My son's in the back seat. He's a baby at the time. He's like 2. My wife had like a horrific day at work. She just started a new job and we went out to eat and, that's first world problems, right? It was the worst meal we'd ever paid for, blah, blah, blah. And we're driving home and this knucklehead behind me is like riding my tail. Then he gets out in front of me. Like he's playing leapfrog. You remember, what leapfrog is, right? Somebody comes out in front of you, then they jam on the brakes and act like you're going to hit them. And he did that a couple of times. And I was just like, dude, this guy. So finally, the rage inside of me, I beep my horn. Like the 2 roads are like veering off from, he's going on the one road and then I was going on the other side. So I was kind of getting off and I beeped the horn and rolled down my window and I flipped him off like to get his attention. Like, hey, I just want to tell you how bad of a person you are. And so I preach and I'm talking about how God's redemption and how, all falling short of the glory of God. It was the single most humbling moment. And I was like, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. That message about being imperfect, but wanting to be more like Jesus and how not to be like Jesus. I can tell you how not to be like Jesus is by beeping your horn and flipping somebody off. That's a real way that Jesus probably didn't do that. Number one, he didn't have a silver Subaru. And number 2, I'm pretty sure he didn't beep the horn and make sure that he got that person's attention and flip them off. But I think it was a humbling moment for me. It was like, yeah, you're human.
Yeah, and it makes you a perfect pastor because
I felt like such crap afterwards.
If a pastor was so good, like perfect Christian, or as perfect as we can be, they would be a terrible pastor. Because you have to understand the human condition and what it takes and what everyone's going through and the struggles that people face. And if you don't suffer from them, how are you supposed to relate to it, understand it, and then tell them and walk them through it? Listen, we don't have to be doing the thing to know what someone should be doing and tell them that that's what they should be doing. I'm the perfect example of it. I'm very good at giving advice to everyone except myself.
Aren't we all?
That's a great trait for you because you can then sit and tell that story and yes, we get a little chuckle out of it, but it also, for people who maybe are intimidated by it or feel like it's a very big undertaking, it's like it makes it a lot easier to walk through the door that first time because they just see a guy that's like, oh, it's a little bit closer to where I'm already at than I realize. I'm not walking into a room full of perfect people and I'm messed up and now I have to face that mess up. It's like, well, you do, but like we're all in it together.
Yeah. I think that was one of the moments where I realized like what I'd been called to do. And I'm on sabbatical now, so I'm not leading a church right now. I stepped out of traditional church ministry back almost 2 years ago. And my ministry now is to my parents who are aging. I had opportunities, I had churches reach out and I just said, hey, in this season, instead of me being that kind of pastor, like I'd rather like minister to my parents who are at, how many years do I have with them? I'm not going to regret it. And I asked God for that. And he opened up the door. I may not be pastoring a church like every single Sunday. I'm not preaching at a church, but I would say every single day I get to live out my faith. I get to pray with people. The career and the job that I'm working in right now, I have the opportunity and the freedom to literally pray with people because my bosses are so open to faith, not only just open to faith, but outspoken about their faith. So let's, I got a couple quick questions for you. What's one key takeaway you want listeners to walk away from our conversation?
I mean, more than anything, I hope that a couple, a portion, however many people watching have come into it purely because, I don't know, maybe they're fans of mine or they stumbled across it and they haven't really explored their faith or spent any time getting to know Jesus or letting them in their lives. And they've taken maybe it feels intimidating or it feels like it's not for them or they wouldn't be accepted. And that from that, they can see the same guy that they've watched interviews of saying the most ridiculous stuff in the world to, he seems like he's doing better. He seems like he's doing good. It's like a different person in a good way. Maybe it can be a little bit of a push for them because I think ultimately, yes, the vehicle that I've been given for it is my music, but the mission for me at this point is to make disciples and bring people to Christ. And my way of doing that isn't isn't preaching, and it's not being or being as unoverbearing as possible. I know you have to be a bit, because it's the whole thing. Like if you see someone about to get hit by a bus and you say, "Hey, you're about to get hit by a bus," and they go, "No, I'm not. There isn't a bus." And you go, "There's a bus. It's gonna hit you." They go, "What point do you push them out of the way, or do you just let them get hit by the bus?" So there has to be a little bit of force with it, but I want to be as soft an entry point as possible. So I hope that even one person is inspired to just take a look on the corner of the door.
Yeah. Well, the Great Commission, right? Build disciples, build disciples that build disciples. I always tell my son this. This is something I tell him all the time. Like, son, your words mean something, but your actions tell me so much more. The actions will really outweigh. People have great intentions, but building relationships with people, leading them, guiding them. Hey, listen, I'm on this journey. I'm not perfect, and why don't you walk this journey with me? That's building a disciple. I mean, that's what Jesus did with he's the first, what we call youth pastor, right? Like most of the disciples were teenagers, right? And screwed up. And he had so much patience with these guys, but he built disciples and he walked with them. Like that was the thing, and Jesus was perfect, but we're imperfect disciple makers.
Yeah.
But
listen, on top of there are many layers to it, many speculations, but I think maybe even regardless of what he did for us, maybe one of the takeaways that I think we don't address or maybe even notice is the fact he did come, perfect, sinless life, is we were given the bar now. We were given the proof of like, no, it can be done. Like, sure. Is that like what we were saying earlier? It's like, no, I'm a good person by our standard. They're the biggest standard that we knew. Good person. Yeah. That was the ceiling as far as we were concerned. Cool. No, here's the bar. It gave us a bar and something to be like, okay, I'm not. I see that now. When we were young, you're in any high school, and it's like, no, that guy's the best guitarist. It's like, yeah, kind of sucks, actually. Actually, kind of objectively bad. Yeah. He's just the best that you know.
Here. Right, yeah.
So now we have a bar with which to compare ourselves to, actually. And not even close. Not one of us.
And that's God's grace, his mercy. I've heard it said, like, God gets grace all over the place, just like a 5-year-old with peanut butter. He gets it everywhere. Like he just puts it everywhere.
Like Oprah Winfrey, you get grace. You get grace.
You get grace. He fills the rest of the gap, right? With his grace, his mercy. We think we're good, but we're not quite there because we haven't arrived, right? We're not sinless. And it's a journey, it's a relationship. And forgive me for stupid things that I will say and that I have said, because this won't be the last time I say them. And I'm not trying to do them, but I will do them. And thank you for your grace ahead of it, but also thank you for your grace here and now. Favorite tour memory? We're changing some gears. We're going to go all over the place here.
It was 2019. I'm a workaholic. That's something that, in saying this and telling the story right now, I realize that is probably an idol for me and I need to work on. I did a tour for my second album and we did 30 shows in 30 days. Crazy. It was me, 3 of my buddies, and we did, at this point in time, I've done arenas, stadiums. I've played to 100,000 people. I had my own exhibit in the Grammy Museum, multiple tour buses all at the same time. Most comfortable way to complain ever. And we rented a Suburban. And we did 30 shows in 30 days around the whole country, coast to coast, top to bottom. We just did it all in a car with everything loaded in the back, stayed in shared hotels every night, driving 6-7 hours a day. We get to the hotel at 1 a.m. We leave at 5 a.m. And it was such a stark contrast to the comparative luxury that I was used to touring in. And we had the best time. And it is to this day my favorite tour I've ever done.
That's awesome.
Just because it was just 4 friends stuck in a car together for a month. We had every opportunity to complain, and not one single time did anyone have anything other than a smile on their face and having the best time. It was wonderful.
Tell me about a book or podcast that you'd recommend right now.
I mean, Case for Christ, we already went over that. Back to Joby Martin. I'm sounding like a super fan. I just read his book, If the Tomb is Empty. I literally just finished it like 2 days ago. Amazing. Case for Christ would probably be the first one.
It's a
Well,
good
no,
one.
that's not true. It's the second one. We all know what the
Second
first
one.
book is. Read that one.
Yeah.
Trick question. You got me.
Trick question.
Failed it.
It's all good. I failed him a couple times too.
I'll repent on that one later. But yeah, Case for Christ and If the Tomb is Empty would be the two.
That's good. What does real growth mean for you today?
I think it's continuous humbling. Aside from the aforementioned ego problems, I think the more situations I encounter in which I'm humble, be it the stuff during the ice storm, or it's just hanging out with people who have comparatively nothing and find so much love and joy, just so much positivity and love. We're all just humans going through this human experience, and none of us understand it, and we're all going through different things, and we don't know what anyone else is going through. I think it's those moments where the growth is for me, where I catch myself doing things and saying things and thinking things more than anything that would have been so out of character a couple of years ago. And it's so gradual. It's like having a kid and seeing him grow up, and you don't notice they're getting any bigger because you see it every day.
Yeah.
And I know this because I have dogs, and that's exactly the same as having a human child.
It's close. It's close. I got a dog too. So
we have 3 and 2 cats, and we're moving house right now, and we're going to have 3 weeks between leaving this house and moving into the next one. I don't know what I'm going to do, because where do you put 5 animals? You can't get an Airbnb or a hotel. They don't allow that many.
Oh, man.
But it's that very, very small incremental growth, and you don't know it's happening until you catch it for a moment. You're like, who am I?
Yeah.
I'm a child of Christ. And there's also those moments, like one of the things that surprises people a lot who don't know me intimately is I'm quite shy, and I refuse to admit that for years. And it was Ben from Asking who'd said it to me once, and my reaction to it was so fast and hard and reluctant, and I was so quick to tell him that I'm not. And now looking back, it's like, no, I do have that, and I don't know where it stems from. I don't know what the subconscious process in my head is. But now I go into those situations where I would have felt very out of place and felt intimidated is not the word, but I don't even know if confidence plays a role in it. But whatever it is, where I would tend to just pull away and recluse myself. I kind of have this thing in the back of my head, and I don't remember who said it. It was probably another great pastor who I'd seen online or something. But this one line goes to my head, and it's like, do you know who my dad is? Because I know when I walk in a room and it's like my meet and greet, or it's like I'm getting an award for something, or it's about me. I have no problems going and interacting with anyone in that room because I know I'm good there. Everyone knows who I am. I'm good. I'm sorted. I don't have to worry about anything. So it's good. It's in those situations where it's like, do I even belong? It makes that imposter syndrome thing of like, do I even belong here? Like, I got no business talking to that person. I'm like, I have that little voice in my head of like, do you know who your dad is? I'm like, yeah. What's the worst thing this person's going to say to me if I go up and say hi? So there's, I think, another layer of confidence that also goes with the connection thing of like, hey, we have the same dad. That's like one of the growth points that I've noticed as well.
That's awesome.
Just moving around the world differently with a different heart posture.
I think when people maybe struggle with like their identity or who they are, or maybe you're like, do I fit in here? One of the things that I heard this said, of all things, I'm a child of God. That's it. Like I'm his, whether he likes it or not, I'm his. I'm all jacked up and I'm a mess. I'm imperfect, but he sees me in a different way. Kind of just like how I see my kid. Just, he's a lot more patient than I am. That's for sure. That's for sure. I want what's best for him. So sometimes you put your will on them. You're like, you will your kid to do this or that. And you're like, I've come to conclusions like, hey, he's going to make mistakes. He's going to disappoint me, but it doesn't matter. I still love him. And that's how God looks at us. You know, my identity is not that I'm a pastor. It's not that I've planted churches. It's not that I've played music or that I'm a musician. Like at the end of the day, I'm a son.
Yeah. All those other things are just little side quests, hobbies. It's at the end of the day, when all's said and done and we leave here, we just want to get there and hear those beautiful words of my good and faithful servant. And it's everything in between now and then. We get to dictate what we do for the most part, and how we interact with people and how we move in the world and what we say, what we do. Can't control our thoughts so much, but we get to control how we treat the thoughts that do come to us. And not
Yeah.
all the thoughts are our own. And I've struggled with that because we all think crazy things.
Gosh.
Everyone who's ever seen the movie Donnie Darko has had the exact same mental image anytime they've been in anywhere that has the little receipt thing. You're not in control of that thought.
Yeah.
That's put in there. That's still demon saying, looks cool though.
Yeah.
What if you did it? So I think it's knowing how to discern your thoughts and respond to them. Anyone who does hear this and go, I'm gonna give Christ a try. I'm gonna give him a fair shot. There's one thing that I've learned, and you will no doubtedly learn, and that is that it doesn't instantly mean life's going to be great and life's going to be beautiful. And the wise prophet Mike Tyson once said, I did not expect to be getting spiritual guidance from Mike Tyson ever in my life. He didn't say it to me. He said it on Instagram, but it was to me. The algorithm sent it to me. I forget who he was talking to, but he said the problem is that when you're one of God's favorites, you're one of the devil's favorites too. And the second you start the walk with Christ is the exact moment the devil will double down and take you, because the devil owns the fence. He doesn't care about you worshiping him. He doesn't like you, hates you, wants to see you burn, doesn't like you, doesn't care about you worshiping him. There was someone I saw, he's a pastor, and he was doing like I don't know if it was a book or a documentary or what, but he's doing some investigative journalism. It's a fascinating story. But one of the things he went into is he went and met with the Church of Satan. They did not know he was a pastor. And he was like, I was completely taken aback by it because they were really nice people, like genuinely, like wonderful people. We had a great time. And I left very confused and thinking like, this is the Church of Satan. And I would genuinely like hang out with these people as friends. And one of the most confusing things that I didn't understand until I got back and started writing it down was that they made a point of, no, we don't like worship the devil. Like that's not what it's like self-empowerment. It's like, be free and do what makes you happy. And
right.
It didn't make sense until I came back and started writing it down, and it clicked where the devil doesn't care about you worshiping him. He just wants to make you not worship Jesus and not worship God. And the easiest way to do it is give you something else to worship. And the thing that we are all so easily trapped into is worshiping ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
You will be tested. You will go through stuff to try and push you away from Christ if you do go on that journey. But fortunately, God is significantly more powerful and has already won the war. So you just got to stick it out a little bit and remind yourself, hey, this is the devil messing with me.
Yeah.
And if the devil's real, and if the devil's real, Jesus has to be too.
Absolutely. We know the end of the story. We've read it. That's the beauty to it. We know who wins.
Yeah,
we know who doesn't win. Yeah. And I love it, Danny. I love it. I saw something maybe about 2 weeks ago, a post, and it posted some lyrics that you put up or that you sang, and then seeing like the transformation like that you're going through. I was like, dude, this is a guy I need to talk to. This is a guy I need to talk to. And I love it. I love it. When you're in Philadelphia, cheesesteak is on me. And if you're fasting, we'll not eat cheesesteaks together. That's what we'll do.
We'll
whatever.
Get a bunch of coffee.
Lots of coffee.
I'll schedule the fast to not overlap.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you, man. Your heart, and I believe that you're embarking on an incredible journey. And I know this probably sounds cliche. You've probably heard this multiple times, but your best days aren't behind you. They're ahead of you.
I hope not, because most of the days behind me are pretty rough.
Your best days are ahead of you.
The future is not looking great if my best days are behind me.
No, man, mine either. But if I can encourage you, man, it's one step in front of the other. And when I read the passage in the Bible where Peter steps out of the boat, right? And he sees the circumstances, he sees all the waves, and he's like, oh my gosh. And the only moment he sinks is when he took his eyes off of Jesus. And I think for our listeners, the moment you'll sink is when you take your eyes off Jesus. But Jesus isn't going to let you drown either. He's there. Even if you start drowning, even if you start sinking, all you have to do is call out to him. That's all you have to do. It's not like he's lost. We're the ones who are lost.
Yeah.
We're the ones who are lost.
I've always thought that's a strange saying. Like, I found Jesus. It's like, that's like saying you found the sky. It was there the whole time. He
hasn't been lost. He's been there the whole time.
We were lost.
And there's moments and circumstances that you go through right?
Yeah.
That lead you to him.
Mhm.
And some of those are the wildest and craziest ways. And sometimes they're just so simple. Sometimes it's not like you hit rock bottom.
Sometimes you just walk into a church.
Yeah.
To
Just walk
listen
into
to
a
some
church.
music. Dude, here's the wild thing. Just a quick thing to leave. I spent my entire life as the whitest person in the world. Black pepper, too spicy. Couldn't have it on my food. I also, due to previous life, extracurricular activities and passions, drugs, chronic sinus issues, which hindered my singing a lot. But that very first time after leaving church, I went for sushi after and I was eating it. And the person I was with said, "How are you eating that? It's so spicy, I can't have it." And they liked spicy food. I was like, "Nothing. It's a California roll." It was full of like crazy jalapenos.
Man.
Since that day, I could eat spicy food, and I joked about it for months. And I was telling people, like, as I put like sriracha on stuff, and they hadn't seen me in a year, and they were like, "You eat spicy thing? That's crazy." And I'll be telling them, I was like, of everything wrong with me, of all my laundry list of flaws, this is where he likes to start.
By healing you.
What a sense of humor. This is the one he decided to fix first.
Yeah.
There are so many places I would rather for him to start it. And then I was telling someone as I was having sinus issues on tour, I was like, but at least I can have it now because it'll clear out my sinuses. And as I was saying, I was like, this is literally the biggest thing that has like hindered me with the gift that he gave me to hopefully bring him to people. The biggest thing that has gotten in the way of that gift and being able to do it, he fixed that problem. That's where he started. It's like, no, this has stopped you being able to help people.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to fix first.
So cool. Man, I'm so glad you shared
jalapenos
that.
and everything.
I love jalapenos. I don't know that they love me a whole lot. And I don't know that they love me later on at the end of the night either. But hey, man, thanks so much for your time. And, I'm excited about your journey. And man, I'm excited that I get a front row to see it. Be encouraged. And if people are listening to this, be encouraged that you're never too far gone. You're never too far gone. God loves you. He has a plan and a purpose for you. Until next time.